Hey, am I live? Am I already live? That's strange. What's happening? Hello, guys. This is PentaBAR. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this first back to school PentaBAR. I'm Cyril de la Serre, a bit surprised, must admit. I mean, was looking for a little video. The first time I'm hosting this PentaBAR, and I'm very happy. Very happy. It's August 26th. It's still summer. It's still also this virus, very alive, but the joy of finding us is intact. And because life is stronger than anything. Life is stronger than anything. You can write it on Twitter. It's my gift today. Life is stronger than anything. So I'm very happy to be in this PentaBAR. What is PentaBAR? PentaBAR is a very special show, which was born 5 years ago in real life in Brașov, Romania, and I give a big hug to my friends in Romania. There are a lot. PentaBAR is at the origin. Problem with the sound. Tell me if you don't hear me. You know, it's the first time. It's the beginning of the show. Beginning. Okay, good now. Good sound. Okay, first. So I resume PentaBAR at the beginning. Was a physical event intended to bring together the tech communities around very operational topics. We had more than 150 PentaBARs and worldwide. Brașov, how do you say? Brașov, as Jency, recently celebrated the 15th tech event, and we have now some PentaBARs in Vietnam and very soon in Mexico. I want to be there. PentaBAR, this event and this show worked straight away, becoming a benchmark for tech meetings. And then this damn virus happened. And like everyone, we had to adapt to maintain the link between us, to maintain the love. We made the online version. So it's not the same thing, but we did more than 30 shows online, 30 PentaBARs, and it worked because people like it. We want to come back to real life very soon, but waiting this good moment, we're still online. The success of PentaBAR is linked to two things. First, we talk about the subject in a very direct, operational, and technical way. Secondly, we don't take ourselves seriously, and we openly ask our questions, comments, and advice. We share it. So if you have today, please write with your little hands your questions, and I will do the connection between you and the guest. And who are the guests today? We start like huge. We start with a very special guest. His name is Philip Stuckey. He works at Adidas, a huge brand. Hello, Philip.
Hey, good morning.
It was not supposed to be. Yeah, I'm happy to see your face. I continue my little speech. I know you will tell us how you wanted to optimize the user experience on the platform for professionals, and why is this need when everything seemed to be going normally. And did the crisis have a role in this? How did you go about making the change? All these heavy questions. I hope that you had simple answers, and I will do my best to translate if it's too complicated, but I'm sure it will be simple. And to help us in this big story, I'm so happy to receive the one who orchestrated that at Pentalog. She's head of growth and innovation in Europe, and her name is Charlene Robb. Please welcome Charlene Robb.
Hello.
Hello, Charlene. So you two have been working hand in hand for months, and then you will explain us how to set up a UX UI project and how it works. It's summer, it's joy, it's PentaBAR. I'm very happy to welcome you and to welcome all the team behind this beautiful project, this PentaBAR thing. And that's it. I'm very happy. So my first question is, how are you two, and how are we going to make a great show today?
Oh man, ladies first.
Well, I'm fine. I'm very happy to be here for this PentaBAR. I'm very happy to have the chance to explain a lot of stuff with Philip because we've been working for a while now together. And I think we have quite good stuff to share to the community. So I hope they will enjoy.
Good. Thank you, Charlene. Philippe, in a few words, what is your job at Adidas? Because there is your title, but you know what is a title, no? What you really do, and maybe what you did before that, and how you became this guy.
Sure. Yeah, thank you first of all for having me. I had the chance to join Adidas back in 2015, right at the beginning of a very important milestone in its agile journey and tech transformation, where it was really beginning to move out of this classical waterfall approach and adopting more agile methods. So I immediately jumped in as a scrum master and got my hands dirty with that. Then that role grew into one of becoming an agile coach, and then recently became the chapter lead for tech project management in the customer experience and commerce space. So
Nice.
our product area is responsible for creating websites and applications that are aimed at digitizing Adidas's wholesale business.
Mhm.
And looking forward to the session today.
Good. And where are you located?
I am located at the Adidas headquarters in Herzogenaurach, Germany.
Okay. And how many people in your team are working with you?
Uh, Currently, we have about 100 team members. The team is rapidly growing. We've had the good fortune of getting a lot of investment over the past year and looking forward into 2022. So that 100 is looking to grow quite a bit.
Cool. Wow. I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the brand and I'm impressed by the job. So it's a good beginning. Charlene, before we ask the first question to Philip, tell us what's your role at Pentalog and how you became this incredible woman in the company.
Sorry. Yes. So I'm Charlene. I'm responsible of growth and innovation services in Europe for Pentalog. So basically, my job is to work on framework, processes, tools, and all what we can build in order to build the right product. So it's really to optimize the work and try to see how we can make every company grow in the right way. And I've been working with Philip for a while. So as I said, with this idea of bringing some processes also and some methods in order to follow what we wanted to ambition with the design strategy inside the B2B product environment.
Right. Great, very clear. Thank you, Charlene. So, Philip, first question: what was the situation when you started to rethink the user experience, and why did you do it?
Yeah. If we rewind the clock to about a year ago, our product area had a rough idea of what the end-to-end customer experience looked like, but we were struggling a bit in terms of translating that very broad vision into tangible practices that manifest in amazing features and amazing products. Just examples, a lot of our products, even though they were very front end heavy, didn't have dedicated designers in them. So we would have product owners putting together wireframes in PowerPoint to try to communicate to the development team, this is how a feature should work. Or we had products that had different UIs, even though our users were ultimately the same, and they used these products to engage with Adidas as a brand. So we saw that there were a lot of opportunities to improve that we show up in front of our customers, the way that we translate our ultimate vision into awesome features, and the way that we drive value for our users. And that's when we said, okay, let's bring someone in who has the know-how to implement this in a successful way.
But it sounds crazy, you know, when you don't very know the topic, because you think Adidas, like this huge brand who is very so creative with B2C communication, with the great sportive guys, and then on the other side, in the B2B world, they had this lack of I don't know how can it happen? How could it happen that you work like that with PowerPoint, everyone in his corner? How things happen?
Yeah, it's a good observation. So initially, when a lot of our products were launched, there was a hypothesis that B2B customers, they're business people, and they're going to buy their products based
Yeah.
on numbers. They don't care about the experience. They don't care about the look and feel, etc. And we realized over time that that was a false assumption. That these businessmen or businesswomen, they also use Adidas.com, they use Amazon.com, they use all these platforms where they're used to having incredible experiences, and they expect that from Adidas as well. Right?
Mm.
On top of that, as we are digitizing further, and I think the pandemic has kind of helped to accelerate that quite a bit. We've had to move from physical touch points with our wholesale customers to purely digital experiences. And they're also very keen on understanding what is the story behind this product that I might invest into. Right? They're essentially making the decision: do I buy 1,000 of these shoes and put them on my shelf a year from now? And in order to understand that, they need to see what does the activation for that look like? All right, what is the story behind this product? What does the marketing material look like? All right, so as we digitize further, we want to bring some of that content that will eventually be available downstream to end consumers and make that available to the customers when they buy. And that can only be done by having a premium experience in a digital way.
So before we ask Charlene how you implemented that, do you think that it's the same thing at the end to communicate with end users or B2B people, that it's the same experience, the same travel in the website?
I think many aspects are the same, right?
Mm.
There are obviously specific needs that are unique to wholesale customers, and by bringing in designers and UX specialists who are able to unpack those conversations and translate those needs into great features, that's the only way we're going to figure out exactly what those needs are.
Mm. Okay. So what was the brief to Charlene? Charlene, how did it start? How did you go about addressing the challenges?
Well, Philip already did a good summary of the old challenges, but yeah, we decided to explain more the importance of having this focus around design, even in B2B. And maybe I will detail that, showing you an example of what we did, to represent and illustrate the whole point of the design. So I'm
Please.
going to share something here.
I love drawings.
Me too.
Oh, okay. It's small, so you have to explain.
Yeah, well, the idea is not to go into all the details of this illustration, but we wanted to explain that design and designers and all the design teams, so all the UX UI expertise, can be seen as the center of a lot of other elements that you have basically when you're trying to work on a digital platform. So that's why the design is at the center, but it's a way to show all the things that circle the design process. And we wanted to explain with this little illustration that we have the design, but it's close to the vision and the product side, the business there's no way that we can figure out the good experience for one type of users if we're not taking into account all the business needs that Adidas has also on that time and still has, I mean. So we need to take that into account, and having a close work with the product owners and all the team who are really aiming to own the vision is really important, because we know what it's all for. So all the teams can create the best experience to fit this business goals. The other point, it's the circle at the bottom, is regarding the development team. It's also really important to be close to how everything will actually be happening in terms of development, how we can work closely with the dev team in order to optimize the work, to make the process and the workflows more fluid inside all product teams. So it's also a big part, this one. And how we can iterate more, on bringing some new evolutions quite quickly into the backlog, so into the implementation of a new release. So trying to push this working close at the same pace with the dev team is really important. And the other elements is all around the work with the analytics team. So how we can bring more data into the work of the design. This is a huge focus here because, as Philippe said, all these products we are talking about are day-to-day used by B2B customers, and somehow we can just forget that making the experience easier, faster, can really help their job in order to buy more quickly, more in advance, and with no constraint on their day-to-day work, day-to-day jobs to be done. So being close to customer, both with the qualitative and quantitative way, was one major topic that we wanted to handle. And so here you kind of have the overview of all these three big teams connection, and all the little dots that you see are some key aspects of the whole design loop that we wanted to introduce. And so in fact, this is where we started, to showcase this whole big process and the kind of vision we wanted to reach. And to make that happen, but we decided not to go on all these dots at the same time. The idea was to split the work and to make sure that we have some quick wins, to make that happen step by step. And so the first thing to begin this whole work and this whole challenge was to hire some new designers, because as Philippe said at the beginning, I don't know, there was 2 people, I think, in the design team for all the B2B products. So it's not much. And I can say very, very, not much. So the first thing was to make the designers and our whole design team to grow. And now I think we have a team of 10 people, approximately 10 people, and to organize the work of these designers. So it was the really first step to hire the good guys, the good girls, the good expertise, and to process the work internally inside this core team. And this is the second step we've made, trying to introduce some processes and way to work inside at the chapter level. I don't know if that.
Charlene.
Yes.
Dear Charlene, just before you go on, can you please remove the graph?
Sorry, yes.
Because it's too small and we can't see it. So I prefer we hear you well. And just before you go on, Philippe, when she said that you had to hire more people, you could have done it before. By yourself, you could have thought, oh, I have just 2 guys, probably I could hire my own team. Why did you do it before? Didn't you do it before?
Yeah, I think there was a growing realization within the product area that certain products needed a bit more UX and design focus. and that under the current structure, it just simply wasn't enough. Um, another big learning for us, in it may sound totally obvious, is that the surest way of having something fail is to not have dedicated leadership supporting it. Right?
Mm.
And we realized that under the current structure, yes, design was becoming more important, but we didn't have anyone to drive that for us. And at a certain point, we said, okay, we're not getting the internal capacity we need here. Let's bring someone in who knows how to do this.
Okay. Before we go on, we have a question, very interesting question. I don't know when to ask it, so I ask it now, and maybe you read it already, Philippe. It's from Istvan Jacob. I hope I say it correctly. It says B2B apps focus more on the flow, UX without too many iterations and tiny shiny details, while non-B2B applications need to focus on aesthetics as well. What's your comment? Maybe both of you.
Yeah, my immediate thought would be it really depends on your user needs. So if your users value aesthetics, then that's something that should be invested into. If it drives adoption, if it drives usage, then make sure it looks good. If your users aren't interested in it and they're only interested in ease of use, for example, then you can keep it a little toned down and just make it work.
Yeah, I remember the beginning of internet. We have the Craigslist. I don't know if it exists. I don't. You remember that? It was so simple, like in blue and white, and it worked so well. So maybe B2B websites are the children of Craigslist. Like, okay, it works. It's simple. It doesn't cost anything. I don't know.
But the sometimes the aesthetic can also help making things easier. So that's why it's always a balance between how much aesthetic we want to put in a B2B tool, but taking into account that it may make things easier as well.
Yeah, you're right, Charlene. So I interrupted you. You were talking about process across design team.
Yeah, because we figured out that it will be easy as a first jump to start with the new design team in place and to introduce some new processes inside this design team before thinking to push the process further on all the teams, like I said, analytics, product, and development team. And so we started to work on a huge design system in order to align all the UX UI designers on the different teams and different products, so that they can share elements, components, view of the different new features they will introduce into the products in order to create this whole seamless experience between the different B2B product, and also to be close to the B2C environment. So this idea is really that we wanted to have this common library and guidelines around all B2B, which fits with the B2C environment.
And did you have to work with them, with the B2C teams, Philippe, or did you just like do it by yourself?
No, so one of the guiding principles was that we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We had some amazing resources already put together from our e-com team, especially from a design aspect. So we reached out to them and got their brand guidelines and used that as a starting point for the front ends of our applications as well.
There is an interesting question from Emmanuel Zabados, trying to say it well too. User feedback is a must, but what are your practices or references or decisions between all feedbacks? And it's interesting because it brings to maybe the design sprint.
Yeah.
That you did. You want to say a few words about that now or later, Charlie?
No, now I can, because it's the next steps we try to move on was how we can introduce more user feedback into the process. It was not the priority at that time, or not well done, or I mean, at a regular basis. So in order to push the idea to collect users' feedback and to have this interview session, testing sessions, more qualitative feedback at the beginning, we decided to introduce the design sprint methods for each new big topics. Because in the design sprint, if I just can say it in a few words, it's a rapid prototyping method. So it's 4 days of work. And during these 4 days, you have the 2 first days were dedicated to collaborative workshops. All team members, not all team members, but like 7 members of the team who represent users, development, design, all kind of stakeholders that are really important. They work together in order to find a first good solution to launch and to test with actual users. And before even thinking about the solution, the real starter of the design sprint is to have this session of discussion with real customers, so the real users of the product we were talking about. And we decided, because we really wanted to begin to introduce this interaction with customer at that time, so we decided to make this step bigger than it is in the theory of the design sprint. And we've conducted like 20 interviews for one specific topic with 20 different customers from all countries. A very, very huge work to grab a lot of feedbacks from all of them. But it was a good starter to introduce this idea of having this practice on the long term. I mean, to keep that as a regular practice to have for any new topic, the chance to discuss with actual customer, which is quite, I mean, it's really, we have the chance in the Adidas product to have some users who are also internally, because they are working with customer inside the same product. So we kind of have the possibility to reach actual users easier than if we would like to reach all the time customers, end customers and B2B customers, I mean, at a regular pace. Yeah.
Good. Philippe, you said at the beginning that you were in the agile philosophy. Had you already done some design sprint before, or was it the first time you were using these methods?
Yeah, so it was the first time that we'd employed it, especially to this scale. As having come from a Scrum Master background, one of the core tenets of Agile is we want to deliver value for our customers, and this is something that was always missing for me a bit in our area. And it was really, really amazing to see us connect with our end users really for the first time, to hear their voice in what is it that we should be prioritizing? What should these features look like? What do they want to see? And then get that stuff to the top of the backlog.
Mm. And what is interesting to know for people who are listening is that at the end of the design sprint, after 2 days of work, you present them a prototype. So the first day you ask them questions, and the last day you show them the result. That's why you can move very quickly to something. And there is a question from Rainer Teddy who said, how did you identify the good questions to be asked to the clients? Well, I guess you let it very open and you ask them, what do you want, or what do you like?
Well, yeah. The idea is when we try to interview some actual users, to be able to find the correct solution after that. The idea is not to push and to introduce any bias during the discussion. So we're not saying that, what would you think about this feature, for example? It needs to be very wide, and more to understand what people are actually doing into the product right now. What are the constraints? What are the things they like? And to the 5 whys kind of methods. It's a way to make them talk So why do you think this is not good, and why, in order to find the hidden problem that is behind all that. And this is why the most powerful thing that we discovered during these interviews is that bringing and letting them just talk and explain with more and more details, we were able to understand the core problem. And I think if we just had taken the first level of information, like we want this button to do this functionality, it would have be the wrong solution, because in fact the problem was not exactly there was another solutions to cover in terms of UX experience that would be way better than the one users actually give at the beginning. So this is why this kind of interviews needs to be very wide, and you're here to listen. That's my advice. You're not here to push any ideas.
So at the end of the, how many design sprints did you do at the beginning?
We did one big one for one product, another one in July for another product, and the thing is, when we did the prototype, it took a little longer than one day, just because we wanted to test different solutions. And so after that, we did the testing sessions, and now the whole big topic that we had at the beginning is split it into smaller ones that I hope will be delivered in an iterative way, in order not to just be in a tunnel and follow for 6 months waiting for something to happen. So that was also the idea.
And you knew where you were going, Charlene? Say it honestly, at the beginning, you know very well. Oh, so sorry.
With what? With the design sprint?
Yeah. Do you have a clear vision of what you had to do, or is it something that change every 15 days or every month? How does it work? With Philip, of course.
With the solution, you mean? Or?
Yeah. No, the work together. I'm just asking in my head, as a neutral guy, when you start this kind of big work together, do you really know where you're going the first day, or is it something that change every 15 days or 1 month?
Do you want to answer, Philippe, maybe?
Yeah, I can maybe share. So I had a rough idea of what success looked like, meaning I wanted our products to have a premium experience. I wanted them to be consistent from one product to the next. I wanted our product teams to be close to our customers. I had no idea how to do that. Right? And I basically shared that with Charlene when we first engaged, and then we've kind of been on a journey to figure out what's the best approach to making that happen.
And how did you get your team to like this project? Because we know that the biggest problem in the companies is change. When you're used to a system which works, it's cool, and then you come and you say, "Hey, this is Charlene. We are going to work differently." How did you do that? I was asking to Philippe.
Yes. Right, Philippe.
Okay. Yeah. I think again we went back to the core of Agile, which is let's start small, we'll create some quick wins, and then we scale. Right? So we didn't go to the entire product area and said, okay, this is a new way of working, fall in line. But we said, okay, we see an opportunity here in this product. Let's start here. Let's make this successful. Let's show the value, and then other people will start pulling. Right? They'll say, hey, I like that. How can we bring more of that into our area? And that's exactly what happened.
When did it start, this collaboration?
1
year ago.
I would say that also 1 year ago.
So
with bigger pace since January this year.
So what is the big change between the first day and now, Philippe?
Well, the the biggest change is that I think we're well on our way to achieving the vision I just shared a moment ago. Right? We are speaking with our customers. The experience is becoming higher quality with every release that the dev team pushes out. Um, and the experience is also consistent across touch points.
Mm. There is a question from Emmanuel again, who is very active. Thank you, Emmanuel. How do you influence or integrate stakeholders to get by in UI UX outcomes in this process?
Well, I can answer a bit this question because the way we introduce, as Philippe said, just little by little, some aspect of the whole design process I just show at the beginning. And especially with this design sprint method, I think it kind of opens some mind and give all stakeholders the vision of all the possibilities it can bring. I mean, what the UX UI design process can bring, because in a super short amount of time with this design sprint process, we kind of touch a lot of topics around what is UX UI. And so they have the chance to actually talk with customers and see the benefits of having this conversation. We also make this all work around workshop all together really powerful with a lot of solutions that comes out. So all this value that the design sprint brings, I think kind of open the mind and make people buy a lot of elements of the design mindset we wanted to push. So it was a good starter, I think, as a message to make people understand a lot of elements. And now, of course, it's still a work in progress because it's even if you know that it's the benefits and that we should go into that direction, it's still a lot of change in the way we are all working right now. So of course, it doesn't mean that now it's easy and we have the open doors to change everything at one time. But I mean, people are more able to buy the next steps to come yet.
And Philippe, what are the main difficulties you've met during this long journey? I mean, everything is not that easy. Yeah. Sometimes we have problems. What were the problems and how did you fix them?
One of the biggest challenges that I indicated earlier was we simply didn't have the internal capacity or skills to do this ourselves. And we knew that if it was going to become someone's side job, that it was going to fail. Right? So even if I said, okay, I'll take this on, it wasn't going to go anywhere because it was going to get a couple hours of my attention a week, and it just simply wasn't going to take off. So that focus was a challenge before we brought Charlene in. And we found that once we had the vision, the capacity, and the know-how, that's when things really started to move.
And they had a question that disappeared on my screen, but I didn't forget it. It was from Danielle. I don't remember the name, but the question was very simple. What is the ROI of it? Return on investment of this whole operation? Mm-hmm. Huge question. I know it's not easy to answer, but what is the ROI?
Well, the return on investment is something that we were actually hoping to be able to measure in real quantitative terms, and is actually one of the three elements that Charlene shared earlier, which is the data and the feedback piece. Right. So ultimately, what we aim to do is to put forward a hypothesis around a given feature, and say, we believe by introducing feature X, we can increase conversion by 5%, for example, right? Mm-hmm. And implement the feature, and then actually measure the usage of that feature to see if the hypothesis was correct or not, right? So that feedback loop will allow us to assess the value of any feature that we introduce going forward, right? And it really only becomes possible with this design thinking. As to the ROI of design thinking in general, right? That is a little bit tougher to put into figures, right? But what I can say is, if you extrapolate that example and you say, all of a sudden you have complete clarity in terms of the value that you're driving for your organization. That to me is priceless.
I like it. That to me is priceless. I have the tweet. This is the tweet. Charlene, what's next? Now, you know, we already talked 43 minutes. The time's flying. But Charlene, so what's next now with this big
What's next? Well, we have this huge topic around analytics to cover, because we've introduced this qualitative data with actual feedback from users, but we need to process that more in order to make it regular, and so to have the real feedback loop framework in place. And we're also working closely with the analytics teams to be able to measure every new features inside one product. So how we can define the correct KPIs, how we can structure higher level of what is the user experience in general in all B2B products perceive. So we are also trying to reach a list of key metrics to measure all the time and to see how globally the experience is perceived by customers. So that's the main next step. The analytics. And also the second one is to make sure that we continue to spread this process with other experts, with the POs, with the data, the dev team, with the data team. So to include more and more all the people from all product teams inside, closer to the design process. And we've designed a maturity framework in order to assess every time if we are on the right track, and that all team can be able to assess themselves each month or each 2 months. We still don't know which frequency, but to make sure that they have, a kind of vision of where are the opportunities of improvement, and to list them, and so that they can check, okay, so this is done on our side, and now we can move to the next topic. So to involve everyone inside this whole journey also. So we've worked on this kind of framework.
Good. Philippe, to conclude, because I know it's running, but it's the end. You already said it, but I would like to sum up with you what are the big learnings of this collaboration first, and what would be your advice for other guys like you in other companies who want to launch this kind of big new thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say step one again is you need to bring in someone that has the mandate and the requisite skills to make this successful. Because only with that focus and with that know-how will the topic move forward. From there, start small, create quick wins, and scale it up. And finally, inspect and adapt. As you learn, scale what works, scrap what doesn't.
That's big 3 lessons. Okay. And there is an ultimate question. How hard will it be to shift from the current almost old school conventional interfaces to the design of futuristic experiences like holographic solutions, AR, VR? Did you think about it yet, or is it for later?
That's next year.
Really? You want to jump into the metaverse and to have your B2B interface in the Oculus?
We already have some crazy ideas out there, so I wouldn't put it past the team.
Oh, really? That's cool. I want to know more. You will not say, you will not say anything. I know.
Sorry, trade secrets.
Okay. Okay. Do you have anything you want to say, Philippe? Something more, something you forgot to say or you want to say?
No, thank you very much for having me. It's been a great chat.
Yes, very interesting. Thank you, Philippe, for your time, for all this backstage. It's very interesting. Thank you, Charlene, for this. It's always a pleasure to have you in the show. Even if it's my first PentaBAR, I had in a life before with another Penta thing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your questions. All of you could follow us on pentalog.com. We have PentaBARs coming in September with a lot of new topics. We hope to see you soon in real life, touch ourselves and drink together, but waiting this beautiful time. We are online. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you in Brasov. Thank you in Romania, my friends, and have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.